Hey everybody, how's it going? So I've been meaning to do a live stream, I should say, of what's all been going on with the car and stuff, but, well, every time I record it, it doesn't feel right. First of all, I might open the garage door for just a minute here, because it is hot in here. We've had a few days of warm weather, and let's see, yeah, it's still sitting close to 90. So let's open this up and let's have a chat. What's going on, Trevor? Let's have a chat here about neighbors. So give this a minute. There we go. Just getting dark out. So as you guys know, if you've been following along long enough, my next door neighbors over here were garbage. They were drug dealer, bad people, and yeah, so love you too, Sammy. So they're really bad people, and finally, one day the police came and I guess you'd say they raided them. Whoa. And then the homeowner kicked them out, and since then, it's obviously been quiet. But in the last 3 weeks, the owner, when he came by, I talked to him for the first time ever, and he said that he was going to sell the place because he's sick of getting bad renters in here. Go figure, eh? He lives about 4 hours away on the other side of the Twin Cities, and sorry for the focusing problem, but so I'm really excited because they've been fixing the place up for the last 3 weeks, and you can see just how much they've done. They've done doors and flooring and everything, so that makes me really excited to get maybe some better people in there. I'm hoping that it sells to like a family and not like some other rental agency, but if there was a rental agency here close to town, that would be cool too, because at least it's not by some slumlord, hopefully. Let me clean up the lens here. This thing has the biggest problem with focusing. Ooh, that's nice. All right, so gosh, I cannot stand this thing. It cannot focus to save its life. So what's been going on with the car? I did plugs and wires, which really weren't necessary, but I felt the need to do it because it was only like $20. And then I noticed that the thermostat seemed to be reading relatively low. So I changed out the thermostat, which is pretty simple because it's just these 3 bolts in the front. The tube obviously pulls off, and then you just pop the old one out, put the new one in. The thermostat wasn't bad. It just so happened that the gauge inside reads a little bit low, so no big deal there. The serpentine belt, the old one, I think, yeah, I've thrown it out, but the old one was sliding around and it was pretty beat up. Kind of a weird design, you know, they have like the ribs in it, and that one there had like ribs, but they were like spikes. It was really weird. So we did plugs, wires, serpentine belt, the thermostat, and the air cleaner. And then when I was driving it, I noticed that it seemed like it was surging a little bit, which I thought, well, that's kind of weird. So I'm going to do the fuel filter. And the fuel filter is right back here. It's this round canister right there. Pop that off, put the new one in. So all in all, I'm in this car, as far as this stuff goes, under $100, probably about $80 worth of tune-up stuff. Oh yeah, when I did the thermostat, it leaked out a bunch of coolant, obviously, so we got that all topped off as well. And the stuff in the radiator looked great. I mentioned in the other video that the overflow canister over there, or the reservoir, had like gunky, gungy stuff in it. I don't know. I took it out. It was like completely low, so I took it out and washed it out real good, and we're going to see if that gungy stuff comes back. But everything in the actual radiator looks fantastic. So we got all that done. and if you guys watched the very first one, you'll know that although the air conditioning does work, the fan did not want to work. Well, it was a pretty simple fix actually. So I looked at all the fuses, and all the fuses were good. So then I went under to the passenger side here. You can't see it, but the fan actually it's right up in here. And the connectors are on the back by the firewall. And the connectors, I popped them off because I was going to take the fan out. And I was like, wow, these connectors sure look like they have like waxy junk on them. So I chipped the waxy junk off, plugged it back together, and works fantastic now. So other than that, I fixed that for free. Although I've been riding around with the windows down, and I just leave them down like all the time because it has that Millennial anti-theft system, which is a manual trans, and I leave like absolutely nothing in here for anybody unless they want some like house papers, some house brochures of houses around the area. And the one fun little mod I did was I put a exhaust on it, because growing up, manuals, dirt bikes, four-wheelers, whatever, you can always hear them, and this thing was too quiet. So I'll start it up. It's nothing crazy. It's a Cherry Bomb Turbo, I want to say, but just a little something, and it actually sounds a little bit deep and throaty, which makes me happy. So we'll start it up for you guys so you can hear it. So yeah, sounds pretty decent. And that brings us pretty much to today, which is what I'll talk about now. So I've had that awful squeak, and I changed the serpentine belt, and it did not want to fix the dang squeak. So I did some research and found that these engines tend to squeak a little bit when a lot of times I think it's the power steering, which power steering's right up front here, and I thought, oh, that's what it is, because that's where the squeak was coming from. But through some forums that I read, they said it's actually a problem with crankcase pressure or vacuum, whatever way you want to look at it. So they said, while it's running, take this off and see if there's a hiss. And sure enough, there was. So all I did was you follow this line back. Now this is all just stupid emissions junk that really doesn't matter where I live, because we don't have emission tests here. But you follow this back, you unhook this, and you ram a number 2 pencil or a number 2 screwdriver into the hole here, and you just make a little bit of a gap, because in there, from what I understand, is like a filter, but it's almost like a steel wool type meshy garbage. You know, it's not like a paper filter or anything. It's just kind of like a bird's nest. So by creating extra space in there, it allows the pressure, I guess, to equalize. And I did that, and it took care of my squeak. So now I have to order another one of these, which, from what I can tell, that's the original. Those are apparently never supposed to go bad, but on this particular motor, it's went bad. And it's like an $11 part, so we'll get that ordered up. But yeah, that's where I'm at with the car. So it's running fantastic. I just did my gas mileage on my second tank, because the first tank was garbage fuel from last year. And then the second tank, I drove it real nice and took good care of it. But I averaged 29 or just right around 30. It was like 29 and a half miles per gallon, which is like way better than that truck, especially city driving. That truck there would be at like probably 14, 15. And so I drove all of this last week on 8 gallons of gas, which is like very impressive. It's kind of weird though, because it seems like they burn the same amount of gas as far as like the gauge shows, but this thing only holds like 20 gallons, and that thing holds like double that. So when I go to fill up, it's like $20 of like $50. So that's where the savings is. It's just it almost feels like you have to fill up more often with the little car, but I thoroughly enjoy that I bought this thing. I mean, it is awesome. And that's going to bring me to what's going on, Tommy Guns and Systolic Emperor. Hope I said that right. What's going on, Robert and Trevor? Which brings me to my next thing. So I've had the car now. I wish this thing could focus to save its life. My goodness. I've had the car now for 2 weeks, and in that 2 weeks, I took the truck out last Sunday just to take it out. I did remote start it. This thing is, of course, going to be blurry as heck, but I did remote start it today just to make sure it was running. Maybe it was yesterday. I'm losing track of days, but it runs just fine. Starts without a problem. What's going on, Tim? But with that being said, I'm probably going to be getting rid of the truck. I really wish my phone could... Sorry about the focusing problem. I think it has something to do with the lower light. I'm going to be getting rid of the truck if I can. We're going to have to see and run some numbers. But I guess I never really went over this. But insurance for the red car is $40 a month. And insurance on this truck is about $120 a month. And then obviously there's maintaining the car to the truck this last winter. It cost me over $500. And I did all of it myself as well. But I did some sway bar end links, which is crazy. And on top of it, the payment is $425 a month. So for about $550 a month, the privilege of driving this truck. And, you know, that's a lot of money. I don't care who you are or how much you make. I mean, that's a huge, hefty amount of money. So Sam and I had talked about this for the last, probably 2 months of well, what do you think? You know, and now I got the little car and I'm getting better gas mileage, and it's, exciting for me to get better gas mileage. So when I take a look around, I say, well, okay, the SUV is a fantastic baby hauler. Put a little hitch on there, and I can bring sticks to the dump, or go to the hardware store. It's pretty nice. The red car, not exactly child friendly, but you can get a child seat in here if you have to. But being that Sam is going to be a stay-at-home mom, the baby hauler is going to be pretty much at all times. And the only times that it would be maybe an issue would be duck hunting, deer hunting, in general if I'm going up north. And Sam wants to learn how to drive the red car, but then also Sam's parents just moved to a town locally here near us, about 20 minutes away, and they are more than excited for the baby. And I don't foresee that being an issue if I go hunting or anything, because Sam really doesn't like hanging out at home alone. She gets really lonely, and now that her parents are even closer, she'll probably end up going there and probably staying the night there. So it's really easy to flip a car seat from, they have, both their vehicles can hold baby seats, no problem. But if I was going hunting or whatever and I wanted to, deer hunting, bring the trailer, so if I get a deer, I don't have a bunch of blood in the back. Thing is figured out as well. So that's kind of where we stand. We're going to try to get rid of the truck because this thing here can do it all. And actually, I found myself using the truck because when we went and got a dishwasher, or whenever we go to Menards and get something heavy, I like to bring the trailer because it's shorter to the ground and it's easier for me to load and unload something by myself when it's lower like that. So, as you will, yes, I will miss the truck, there's no doubt about it, but I'm not going to miss that paint. And saving $550 a month is no joke. That's a lot of money. And, yeah, like I said, I've had the car for 2 weeks and I've only driven the car, except for last Sunday when I took it out just to make sure that it was the battery was charged and it was fine, but I haven't put any gas in that thing. It has like under a quarter tank of gas. And I'm just like sitting there. People were wondering, how am I going to get in and out of the driveway? I just tucked it over there to the left. Both the vehicles can get in and out of here. I think it'd be nicer if it was gone or further over, but it works. And then as far as like canoes and stuff go, if I wanted to go duck hunting, I could do it with this red car. Throw the canoe on the roof, because this thing was so cheap. I don't care if the roof gets scratched. It's not going to hurt my feelings. And like last year, you got all which I can fit within this vehicle. I used to camp out of my Focus all the time, and that was probably about the same amount of space. The Focus had 4 doors, but I think the back seat was about the same size. So, yeah, that's where we stand. So I will have to keep you guys updated on that. And I did get the rust stuff for the rims, so I have to make a appointment for that, get that all taken care of. But the only kicker is there is a little bit of negative equity floating on the truck. But being that I have a couple of those aftermarket warranties, I should be getting money back. Grand, it's going to have to vary dependent on if I get money back from the warranties. So I'm still not worried about that though, because if I had to take out a very small loan for something of that nature, it would still, the payment would be so much less. What's going on, Neil? The payment would be so much less than $550 a month. So yeah, and Wayne, that's a good point. I have been throwing around the fact of getting a rack and just bolting it to the roof of this thing, because once again, it's like, does it matter? Probably not. By the way, I'm going to take a drink of this, but I don't know if you guys have ever had a bottle like this, but this thing sucks more air than water, and I don't understand it. It drives me up the wall. So, that's where we're at. Generalized update. Oh, four-wheeler. Tim, you're watching. So, the four-wheeler. This is not my four-wheeler. Tim, who I believe is watching maybe right now. There he is. This is like his dad or father-in-law's four-wheeler, and it has an issue where it likes to leak gas after it's been running. Like right now, the gas is off and it's fine, and if I turn the gas on, it's fine. But once it, father-in-law's? Okay. But once it's been running and you turn it off with the gas valve on, it drips gas. So I had taken it apart, cleaned the carb out, put it all back together. I thought it was going good because I had the gas on for like a week and no leaks. And then it took me forever to figure out where the battery was. I actually was to the point where I'm like, this thing does not have a battery. But it turns out that the battery is up in the rear wheel well, which is like way different than I've ever seen. And so I jumped it, got it running yesterday. Runs great. And then when I turned it off, it didn't leak gas for like 5 minutes, and then it pulled up and leaked gas. So now I have to take it back apart. Don't know if it's something with maybe there's a little needle valve in there that's goofy, but I don't know. We're going to take it apart and figure it out. It doesn't take me long to take it apart. It's just interesting problem, right? And you guys know I do these things for free. I'm not going to charge Tim or anything like that. I like to do it because for one, it gives me something to do, but teaches me stuff as I go along. Like, I've never encountered this particular problem where it's fine, but it's not. And so then I learn, and that's what I like. I've also been going through the garage and figuring out what's some things I can keep and sell and blah, 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 because, well, I don't know, maybe I'm just getting lean with my stuff, but like we went through the house and threw out a bunch of stuff and just trying to get down to what I need and not necessarily have so much stuff around all the time. So like I got a stick welder over here, as you guys know, and I bought it to work on my trailer, and that project's done. So I'm like, I hit my dad up, hey, do you want this thing?